All right, folks, we don't have a clock running up there, but we're about 2 minutes into the top of the hour, so in an effort to get people home, let's take a seat. Those of you that are going to stand are welcome to stand, but let's get this meeting started. Come on up, Bill. Tim? It should be a nice and short meeting, just with a couple of updates for the community. We have a couple of folks joining us online, so if you have comments or questions, I'll try and bring the mic to you, or try and step up to the mic. There are no cables to fall. It's pretty safe as long as you don't step on that side of the mic. That way, the folks that are online can join us. All right, so the agenda for tonight, we only have seven items on the agenda tonight. We'll start with law enforcement updates, and we have, Bill's going to give an intro, and we're lucky enough to have Captain Palomino and a few of our deputies joining us. Hey, good to see you guys. Thank you.
Deputy Rivas. CHP could not make it. They called me at the last minute, so they had something else to put them up. They had to go. They apologized and said they'll make the next meeting.
Would you mind, it's not going to be a long time, would you guys mind standing closer to the mic here next to the captain? That way, you guys have, I know you project. I know you have a great voice.
It's like you knew I was speaking first. It's really low. I actually have handouts for everybody. These are for you to take with you. Yeah, please. It has our crime stats for just Wiseburn only. So.
That's going to be my very next slide.
This is what I plan on doing going forward, is giving you guys something that you can take with you and take a look at and hold on to, so it's a little bit more tangible than me coming up here and talking and you having to remember everything that I tell you. So as you can see, Wiseburn has actually been doing really good. So year to date, we've had no homicides, no rapes, no robberies, no aggravated assaults, and no residential burglaries. We did have some grand theft autos, so we had 5 this year, 3 in January and 2 in February. And you'll see that a couple of those were older model Chevy Silverados, which I thought was kind of interesting. So just be aware of if you have an older model truck. We did see a trend with that. And then we did have 4 catalytic converter thefts. We had 3 in January and 1 in February, and 1 vehicle burg where 2 firearms were stolen. And if you look on the back, you'll see a map of where these crimes occurred. Not the specific address, but now you have an idea of where things are occurring. And then at the bottom, you can see where our response times are with our emergency responses, priority, and routine calls for service. We're doing really good with our response times. Our average time for an emergent call is 5 minutes. Priority is 15.4, and routine is 52.8. So for emergency calls, we do have a threshold of 10 minutes, so we're well under the threshold. And then priorities, we have 20, and routine calls, we do have 60. So we're well under our threshold, so the deputies are doing a really great job at responding quickly to the calls for service.
You guys may or may not know, but our service out of the station has been up and down a lot over the years. And I have to tell you, Captain Palomino, I think it's because she comes from a controlled background, she's really shaking things up in a very short time. So you're flexing our numbers very quickly.
Thank you. Thank you. Speaking of shaking things up, so in the near future, I'm revamping our entire social media page, and we are going to have a whole social media team. So make sure that you follow us once we get everything up and running, and we're going to have a lot of posts and a lot of interaction with the community going on with our social media. Any questions for me or for my team?
Come on, you guys, don't be shy.
Yeah, don't be shy.
Do you happen to know what happened on 132nd Street, 5000 block this afternoon, Jewish?
That one I'm not aware of. Do you guys know?
We can find out for you. No, give us a few
Do you,
minutes.
what time was it?
1 and 2,
Okay, we'll check right now.
5000.
What did you see or hear? What did you see or hear around there?
Ambulance and fire trucks, and then a helicopter too.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, sir.
I was going over with my wife, trying to remember what year it was. I think it was 2020. I'm sorry, 2022. At like 5 in the morning, someone was trying to steal a catalytic converter. I thought it was my truck. It was like 5 in the morning. I ran out there with a baseball bat to chase them away, and it wasn't my car. I'm like, all right, well, I was getting ready to go back to the house, and there was a car behind my car. The getaway car was right next to the car that they were stealing the catalytic converter. And I was like, I don't want to go back to the house because I'm already seeing it. So I ran up there and I said, you better get out of here. And I kicked the door closed, and the car took off. And the guy was underneath the car still. And I said, you better run, dude, you better run. So he took off running, but he left all of his stuff underneath the car. So we called the police, they came out. Took a while. I think there was a miscommunication because everything was happening so fast. She
Right.
made the call, and she said place instead of street or something like that. And everything was cool, but the police officers at that time, they were all a bunch of young guys. And I wasn't very happy with the way that things went because I said something to the extent, are you guys going to take any of the stuff that was under the car? They left the jigsaw, and they left a light, and he goes, well, we'll take it, but there's nothing we're gonna do about it, because they're gonna just kick them out to the street again anyways if we catch them. I go, wow, dude, you're not even gonna try? He said, what for? And I said, dude, that's crazy, man. He goes, well, maybe next time you wanna think about who you voted for. And I was like, wow, dude, that's kind of hurtful, you know what I mean? Because you don't even know who I voted for, you know what I mean? And that shouldn't even be a topic to begin with. The only reason you guys are supposed to be here is to help us, you know? I was in my underwear, she was outside standing there with me freaking out. And other than that, everything was pretty cool, you know?
Well, first of all, I would like to apologize. That is not how we're trained to handle calls for service.
You're
Oh, this is 2020?
I believe it was
Okay.
2022, so I think you were probably speaking after.
Just know, though, in the future for calls for service like that, we are supposed to take a report. We are supposed to interview people, gather evidence, and, search for video footage. We're supposed to do all those things and, give the victim a report memo. And if you are satisfied at any time with our service, please call and let us know, and we will handle it appropriately.
Yeah, I actually left a note for the owner of the car. She actually became a really good friend of mine. I didn't know whose car it was. They said they were gonna leave a note for her too, and they did. So
Okay.
there are things that they did, but there was things that just, with all the craziness that's going on in the world, it's the last thing I wanna hear.
Right.
My officers that are protecting everybody in the neighborhood aren't really there, physically, mentally, spiritually, or however you wanna call it.
Right.
So I thought a little bit bummed out about it, but other than that, everything went pretty smooth, and we sat, not sat, we stood there and talked a little bit, and then we went back into the house, and that was kind of the end of it.
Well, I hope you never have an experience like that again, but if you do, please make sure you call and let us know, and we'll evaluate the situation. And then also in the near future, we will be having a date where if you want to get your catalytic converter etched, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's supposed to be the last 6 of the VIN, you can come in and get your catalytic converter etched. So if it is stolen, at least it's marked. Okay? And we'll be posting that on our social media page when that comes. Okay? Yes, ma'am?
Can I ask a question?
Mm-hmm.
Going so I go, La Cienega, and then El Segundo, there's the Ramada.
Mhm.
Well, there's the lane, El Segundo, I don't know if it's yours or however, whoever covers that area, but the El Segundo has 4 lanes, 2 to go to the left, 2 to go to the right. Because La Cienega gets backed up past the exit, they will make it 3 to go to the left. And there's many, many times that I almost would almost lose my fender, almost lose my bumper, because they would go, we're like this, and they would go, phew.
In front of you,
And
yeah.
and I'm on the,
You're in the turning,
outside,
you're in the
yeah.
turning lane and they're in the lane to go straight.
To make a
Or
right.
right, go right.
Right, and I've seen it many, many times, it doesn't just happen to me, it happens all the time. And I don't know if, because eventually there will be an accident there. There's a lot of heated, and I see it every day because that's how I go home. There's a lot of angry, because the ones that want to bogart will just go move. And we wait, sometimes it takes about 20 minutes of waiting just to make that light. And there's a lot of people that bogart, so you lose your turn. But, like I said, there's a lot of accidents, so I was wondering if there's any, not a lot of accidents, but a lot of close calls. I was wondering if there's anything that can be done in that area?
That is a regular sit and watch spot
For CHP, and that was going to be what I was going to tell you, so. But we can always reiterate that with them, and maybe they need to do something additional for that intersection. But we will get together with CHP on that and see what else we can do.
You don't know if there's any accidents at all, or is it just?
I can research that and find out. But in that area, CHP would be the one to take that traffic collision report, not us.
The times would be around 4:30, rush hour afternoon. Because that's when everybody's going.
Yeah.
Huh?
When do you notice?
Because I'm around that area around 4:30, 5 o'clock.
Yeah, so when people are getting off work,
Right.
when it's busy, okay.
That's when there's a lot of, the line is really, really long.
I'll get with them and make sure when they do their operations that it is around that target time.
I mean, if you don't want to write it off.
Yeah. We can check it too. Write that down, guys.
Yes.
Yes, sir?
I got a two-part question.
Sure.
The first part is, when you call into the non-emergency number, is that a sworn officer answering the phone? And the second part is, when I give them my name and my phone number, is there an expectation that I should get a call back as to what was found out when they finally came out?
So to answer that first part, it depends. Sometimes it can be a deputy, sometimes it can be a law enforcement technician. It just depends, and it can be a phone operator as well, which is also a civilian. So yes, but no. It just depends on who answers the phone, but they should be identifying themselves and telling you them what their title is, whether it's law enforcement technician or deputy or phone operator. They should be saying that and then saying their last name. And so, again, it depends on what the call was placed for. Is it something that requires follow-up and that you have requested follow-up for? Can you give me an example of?
Okay, on the corner of 137th Place and Inwood Avenue is a smoke shop.
Yes.
There was a guy in a white van dealing drugs. My neighbor told me about it, and she asked if I would also call. She gave me all the information, the vehicle, the person, license plate, and so on. And so I called in, and every time I call to non-emergency number, I get a feeling that I'm a bother to the person answering the phone. I've called numerous times on different things. And we found out?
So we oftentimes ask for the phone number just in case we need additional information from you. But if you do desire a call back, you can tell them that. If you say you want to call back and you want to know how the call for service was handled, we can do that for you. Just tell them that, and they'll call you back. But we always ask for a phone number just in case if the line gets disconnected while we're speaking to you or we need additional information. That's why we ask for the phone number. Because you can imagine how many calls for service we take, so we don't make it a practice to call everybody back and let them know what the result was. But if it's something that you want, we will absolutely do that.
Well, see, that I think is an issue. And the reason I'm saying that is, if I don't get a call back, or anybody else gets a call back, we get the impression, hey, the officer never came out, they really don't care about our community. Why should we call in the first place? That's, you know, for me,
It's-
in the customer support all my life, communications is the biggest thing. Yeah, you might not be able to resolve an issue, but if you say, communicate with them, this is what I'm going to do, and this is what happened. People will go, okay, I'm not happy, and I understand.
I couldn't agree with you more, and I know sometimes message delivery goes a long way, and the way you treat somebody goes a long way, and that's the last things that you remember about us. So I hear your frustrations on that, and I do recognize that we have our areas where we can improve with our customer service. Yes, go ahead.
Sir, if I may, we are aware that we can do better, and we have been. And I would invite you to come to our dispatch center so you can get an idea of how the dispatch center works, right? And then that'll give you a better idea how it operates and why sometimes you do not get that response that you would like, because it is a 911 operating center, and they're dealing with, you know, high-risk calls, for example, and they have to attend to those first. And then if it's not a non-emergent call, it has to be put on hold. So it might seem like they're being rude to you at the same time, but they're not, because they have another high risk. And we're improving it, and part of this social media program that we're gonna do, now that's gonna give you the information. We were at this scene, for example, today you asked that question, helicopters and ambulance. And that was at Del Air Park. There was an incident of someone in the vehicle that didn't wanna come out, and they were suicidal, right? So that's why you had the ambulance, the helicopter, and all the patrol vehicles out here. So now, once we get this social media platform up and running, and you are following us, we're gonna post that information. This is what's going on. Stay away from the area. And then after the area is clear for you to go about your business, right? Because this is what's going on. And again, you can always call back and ask what's going on in my neighborhood. The phone number thing, the phone number has to be documented as to who called. And then it is just the time that we have to call you back. A lot of people say, don't call us back, or I would like to know the results of this, and then you'll get a call back.
Can I ask you, I know it's been a minute, but was the call that you placed February 23rd, does that sound about right?
I'll tell you in a second.
I think some of that may come too, Captain, just thinking out loud here. Because of our close proximity to other cities, a lot of them do make calls for service to some of our local police departments. And Hawthorne in particular, you know, not to give them kudos, but they're quite good about asking, would you like the officer to call you back with what they found? You know,
Right.
sometimes you say yes, sometimes you say it doesn't. You know. But
Right.
I know with you guys, if we ask, because I've done 1,000 times myself, you know,
I mean,
deputies call me, tell me what they found.
If you ask, we will call you back.
I unfortunately had to call the lines a lot in the last 10 months. And I've had nothing but great conversation.
my neighbor
They've been
called
so kind, considerate on the phone,
and nobody
and
came out.
receptive, so
And so then she
I just need to.
asked me if I would, you know, another voice, so maybe somebody will do something. And now I know they did come out.
I have to came out on the 23rd for the white sedan?
It might be, because I know it was a few days later. Because I see her every day, and she said that they did come out.
Okay.
And I said, well, I left a number, and I figured they would call me.
We don't normally do that unless somebody asks us to call them back.
Okay.
Just with the sheer volume of calls for service that we handle, that's just not something that we typically do.
Okay.
But like I said, make sure you ask if that's what you desire, and we will be more than happy to call you back.
Yeah.
But with this particular call for service, I'm assuming that this went on for several days. We went out on the 23rd, and we did do a traffic stop on that car, and they did not find anything related to narcotics in the car for the white sedan. Okay?
It was a van.
Oh, this one says sedan, but it was the same type of call with the weed shop.
Is there a license number?
No.
Oh, because I have that. It was a white van.
Was the license plate given for the call for service?
It sure was.
Okay. Okay.
I know all the things that.
So that was on the 18th. I'll look into that call.
Pardon?
Thank you. I'll have them research that call and call you and let you know how that call ended up.
Okay.
Okay? You're welcome. Yes, sir.
Oh, that incident, what, you mentioned Del Air Park?
Yes, sir.
No, it was in Wiseburn, right here on 132nd.
It originated in Delaware Park and it drove around.
Oh, it did?
Yes, yes.
And it was a guy in suicide?
It was, I believe it was a female. And the outcome was that the person was detained and they got the help that they needed.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I've been playing with the idea of getting my CCW, but her brothers are also in law enforcement. They said I probably wouldn't get it because it's isn't here in the 139th Street. But other than that, I should be able to get it. I don't have any problems mentally because it'd be perfectly fine. Should it still occur? Yeah.
Yeah, if there's nothing in your background that would preclude you from getting a CCW.
Okay, and is there a place locally where I can go get the application and all that stuff?
I believe they do it online,
You
correct?
can go to our website, lasd.org. There is a tab for CCWs. And you actually do the initial application there.
Okay.
And then they'll contact you for all the information and after you submit the application.
Okay.
I will tell you that I think the process is a little bit lengthy, but obviously worth
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah, I know. It's
Sometimes it takes over a year, so.
right.
And if
Yeah,
you
yeah.
live in the city where you have a police chief, you have to go to that city first and then it goes to the county.
After you do the online
If
application.
you live in the city, you have to go to your police chief so they can,
Oh,
right?
so we're Wiseburn, so.
So you're in the county, so you can go straight to the county.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
CCW?
Concealed carry way.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's a very lengthy process.
Yeah.
If
If I
you
was starting
ask your question, nobody can now require you to have a special reason for that. Or require rules on that.
Right, I was gonna try starting it like 2 years ago, but her brothers were saying, you'll never get it, you'll never
Very
get
lengthy
it, so they kept
process.
talking me out of
The
it.
biggest hiccup now
Yeah.
is Rob Bonta, the California State Attorney General, has put new laws and restrictions in place that basically has made every CCW instructor in the entire state not qualified for California standards.
Oh, wow, okay.
Now, that's another huge problem. Nobody keeps track.
Yeah, I think there might be a place in San Bernardino.
It's a big mess.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I mean, I know you have to have so many hours and, like I said, it's kind of hard to find a place.
California is literally doing whatever they can to prevent that.
There's a woman in that actually does some training, but I don't know if they're able to do what they're saying.
You should join the South Bay chapter of the NRA. They give you a lot of information.
Okay, South Bay chapter.
The NRA, I can give you information in the meeting there.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions?
I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
Do you guys have?
You're only allowed 2 questions, but go ahead. I'm just kidding.
Couple more meetings. Do you guys have any preparation going on for the lunar eclipse that's on April 8th?
I didn't know there was a lunar eclipse. Can anybody else speak on that?
I'm sorry, solar, lunar? Oh, solar eclipse. Yeah,
Oh.
supposedly it's gonna be a total blackout going through like six states, something like that, but you are gonna get some residual throughout the rest of the country.
I have not heard that, but I will look into that too.
That's just for you guys. I mean, I'm gonna have gotten down the hatches in my house. So.
Yeah, I don't think California is a complete blackout state
Right,
for that. But, thank you, guys. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. On the calling part, I don't have any special status with the sheriff. My last name is the last thing I do when I give. I call often because I live on the south end of the neighborhood, across from T-Mobile, essentially, right? I'm the last house that is in the unincorporated area. So it's we don't leave our house at certain times of the day because of traffic. So traffic, I feel you, I know. Catalytic thefts, anger management, angry drivers, I see all of that. Drunk people from the bar on Rosecrans, we see that as well. There is a protocol to calling them that's worked for me that I would recommend. Number one is, obviously, be polite, right? Two, request what's it called? Incident number, ticket number?
Tag number.
A tag number. A tag number will force the person taking the call, whatever their status or rank, to log the call and assign a number to it. And then three, request a callback. If you think it's an issue important enough, obviously, if you're calling, you think the issue is important, but request a callback. I've never said anybody, no, your issue is dumb. We're not going to call you back. They don't call me back immediately. Sometimes it's taken a couple of days, but they will call back and go over that and say, hey, you called about this. This is what happened, or as much information as they're able to give you. So those are the three things that I can tell you is ask for a tag number so that you're certain that the call gets logged. Obviously, it's prioritized according to what emergencies they're dealing with, and then two, request a callback. There's nothing telling you if they don't offer it doesn't mean that you can't ask for it and say, hey, you know what? I'd like to be called back on it, right? And they will call back. I've never had, and again, I don't have special status, with any of them. So every time I've done that, it's worked for me. And I call, I'm not going to say what the frequency of my calling is, but because of the area that I live in, I'm a high frequency caller, right? I live essentially at the intersection of the commercial district of our neighborhood, right?
10 or 15 times a month.
So I'm not going to cite a number, but anyway, that's the protocol that works for me. And for those that are listening online, and again, please say no. Don't use that. That's not what we like, But that's worked for me 9 times out of 10. I don't think I've ever experienced a failure with that protocol.
We're more than happy to call back, more than happy.
You guys can always call the station and ask to speak to the watch commander, like you call on your call, watch sergeant, a lot of times you do there, and what's going on.
And I can tell you guys, in 20 years, I've only called you twice, so that's pretty good right there. I've lived in the same house for at least 20 years. 27 years. So 27 years, I've called you guys twice, so it's not bad at all.
More questions? You guys are good? Moving on?
Thank you, guys.
Hi everyone, how's everyone doing? This mic. Okay, it works. So my name is Ara, and for those of you who don't know me, I'm from Supervisor Holly Mitchell's office. And thank you, Jamir. Jamir is from DPW, and he's helping out pass out a flyer right now. So I will touch on a couple of things. It's good to see familiar faces tonight. So first, dispensary is something that I got to Eddie, I appreciate you for raising it so we were able to check together. So thank you so much for that. I think there were some inquiries that Eddie received on a particular site, which is 13763 Inglewood Avenue. So I can speak on it briefly. So in the span of 2 days, we tried to get much update that we can, and I wanted to share back to you. But as you know, dispensary, it can take time and it's not an overnight solution, but I'll be happy to share what we found so far. So to touch on the dispensary a little bit, I'll give a general background. So as some of you know, dispensary is still illegal in unincorporated area, and county is in the process of creating an ordinance, and that's still under development. And ultimately, this is to legalize it, which means there's more regulation and you can even enforce it, right? And if some businesses are not following guidelines, they can be penalized and whatnot. So in order to legalize it and make more regulation, this is the step that we're taking. So I want to share that as a background. And after that passes, there will be a limited number of licenses that can operate across the unincorporated area. So I wanted to share that to you before I start. And so if you look at the flyer that Jamir kindly shared, thanks again, Jamir. So this is a flyer where you can report illegal dispensary. So I believe 1 year ago, Office of Cannabis Management team, or OCM team, they came and presented on what they're planning to do, right? So I checked with them. This is the most recent flyer they have. And I know this is Public Works app, but then you can still submit illegal dispensaries through this app. And it's really easy. With a click of a button, you can just submit it. You don't have to wait on phone for like 20 minutes or longer. So this is really convenient. So if you want to report any unincorporated area illegal dispensaries, please feel free to utilize this. So this is available. And I want to share good news. So as I connected with the OCM team, they updated that they're planning to go to unincorporated area during summer, likely around June, to reach out and share about the status and the work that they have been doing. So that's coming up in June. So that's a happy news I can share with you. And as we communicate with them, I'll ensure that they visit Wiseburn Watch too and engage with the community again. So that's a happy news I can share. And as they come, they will be speaking on the timeline, development of cannabis social equity program, as well as conducting discussions, and it will be an opportunity for feedback. So yeah, I can update that to you. And another thing I want to highlight is I appreciate some people that have been so patient. As long as I can remember, I remember working with Derry and Tim and so many people that have been patient and kind to, walk me through as I was adjusting to this job too. There are so many legal aspects to it, enforcement that makes this work really tricky. And I want to let you know that there are multiple departments that are working together. So right now, for instance, Office of Cannabis Management that was created. There's regional planning that works on zoning. There is also the sheriffs, of course, for the enforcement. The works at Public Works does it, right? And of course, there's county council. So there are multiple agencies that are working together. So I appreciate some of your patience on this. And I know that specifically, going back to the 13763 Inglewood area, the owner has been changing name and changing location to move the business, right? Even though they get cited and they have to pay all these penalties, they somehow make their way to come back and whatnot. And so one thing that I am hopeful is as we have this ordinance and when it's legalized, it's easier to catch illegal businesses like that. So we're getting step closer to that. So I wanted to let you know. And again, I appreciate your patience on this. And so, yeah, multiple departments are involved. And most recently, on March 1st, there has been a, search warrant that was operated by the Sheriff's Department. This has been in a big partnership with the County Council as well. So they are making steps to tackle on this site at 13763. So I just wanted to let you know the most recent update on what the county is doing overall. And again, this is a flyer that you can use to report illegal dispensaries that are operating. But let's say you experience a hiccup. Like, I'm sorry, Eddie, you kind of had to go through that, so like I tried to step into. Let's say you experience hiccup in getting response and whatnot. I'm gonna ensure that you get the response right away. So some of you might remember Sari Steele. She's from County Council. She's amazing. She came last year too. You have her contact information information, and feel free to loop in her email and also include me. And anyways, I'll be around. You can get my email address if you don't have it, and I'll be happy to assist you so you can get the response from OC and Tim as they're transitioning. So with the dispensary, I think that's like a general, information. Eddie, anything you want to add?
No, I mean, and I know some of you are going to remember that last year, the county council came and said, we're going to close that within a month. They changed businesses and changed names, and so the county's only reacting, they're 3 steps behind the quickness with which they're able to change addresses, change legal entities, lawyer up, so they're trying. We need, Ara is our essentially county watch commander. The only reason I was able to get a response from the various agencies was through her. It's never fast enough, unfortunately, as fast as we would want it to. It seems simple, right? They're violating county code, shut them down. The sheriffs raided them on March 1st. They're open 3-4 days later, if not the next day, right? So it's a process. They're going through it with the legal channels that they have, and they promise to update us again when they have an update. That's the best that we have so far. Bob?
It's an illegal pot shop, is that correct?
Absolutely.
So if it's illegal, they come in, and the sheriffs come in, why don't they just take them away?
There's a whole legal aspect. Should we ask?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. So, Captain, quick. I know you guys were on the way out. Captain Palomino? Captain. Sorry. I know you guys are on the way out. What? They're dead. You can't leave now. No, one question on enforcement. The raid on the pot shop, the illegal dispensary, one of our members is asking, well, why can't we just lock them up, right? Why can't we take them away in handcuffs?
We actually did. We arrested 4 people. We arrested 4 individuals, and we confiscated a lot of marijuana and edibles and different things and money as well. So it's something that location is on our 5-year radar, and we're not stopping. Like it wasn't just a one-time deal. Like we're still investigating that shop. It's still going on.
So basically, it's a catch and release, and then goes back out and opens up somewhere else.
Yes, and from what I understand, I know it's a California thing. It's not a sheriff's department thing, it's a California thing with the laws. I know, it's frustrating for us too. We put a lot of work into our operations, and it's one of those things we want to see results for the community and results for us. We don't want to waste our time.
Frustration over here.
Yeah. But it's still going on, it just, be patient, we'll see some more results with that. But we did arrest 4 individuals.
Thank you, Captain. Yep. Yeah. So, again, you heard it from the captain. This is what we're facing, and they're well funded. I mean, you think it's just a little pot shop around the corner? They have deep pockets in terms of legal representation, and they're out like that.
Like I said, if anyone else in the pot shop, one thing, they'll never shut it down.
How do you, I'm sorry, I might be naive or whatever, but how do you know if it's illegal?
So any dispensary in an unincorporated area is illegal at the moment. For example, City of LA, opening dispensary, it's legal. You have to follow certain guideline and requirement, of course, but
Hawthorne is legal as well.
yeah.
So you guys know, across the street from us is legal.
There's a whole permit process that you have to do.
If you look at the map right here, guys, everything outside of the yellow area, which is unincorporated area, we're in the south, Wiseburn, Del Aires to the north of us. Everything outside surrounding us in Hawthorne is legal.
But it's only illegal because the county hasn't figured out the rules yet.
Yeah, so the ordinance is coming, so that's a good news, right? So Captain just mentioned it's not a Sheraton. Other departments, they're kind of stuck too, but the good news is, she mentioned law. The ordinance is coming. So I have my hope too, because I have been talking with Derry, Tim, and and I appreciate their patience, and I wish something changes too, right? So when it becomes a law, when it gets legalized, then there will be a measure that law enforcement or others can use to enforce it, right? So if they are not following guidelines or rules, there can be, a penalty or whatever it may be, right? So having it legalized will benefit the community with the concerns that you guys have been addressing. So we're kind of steps closer to that, so I want to let you know. And I want to assure, like, regardless of who's elected and whatnot, remember, dispensary is something that at the state level, voters voted, right, to pass it, right? So it's something that we don't have control, but at county, whatever that trickles down from, like, state guideline, we need to accommodate to that, and we're changing to the ordinance. And so I appreciate Eddie and other people that have been, like, handling this too, but yeah, it's in the process, and I appreciate you.
Well, obviously, you pointed me there.
Yeah.
Obviously, the concern is,
Mm-hmm.
the county will have guidelines so it's not in our neighborhood. Put it in a business area.
Yeah.
So, and that's worth
Yeah,
repeating
it-
for the people.
for the summer.
Repeat what Harley said?
Yeah.
I understand it's legal, that's the issue, it's like, you guys are working on being not right in our, because.
So not close to the resident, right?
Yeah.
So, oh, did you want to?
I was gonna say, we'll ask the Office of Cannabis Management to come present us the draft of the of the code. But the idea is that, yes, not around schools, not around residential neighborhoods, right? Just like the strip clubs, right, aren't allowed. It's same, at least at the county level. We can't speak for the city of Hawthorne. Important. City of Hawthorne has different parameters, but the idea being that we hope that the county code allows for it to happen in industrial areas, not close to schools, churches, residential areas.
Yeah, that's good. That's good, Eddie. Thank you. So yeah, one of the things that I talk with Wiseburn residents is it will be ideal if we don't have these dispensaries in your schools and certain residential area, right? And these are valid input. So again, I requested OCM to, do engagement, make sure that, like Wiseburn Watch, you'll communicate with them because I have been working with this community and this has been a concern. And so those meetings, if you can come or if you can send your neighbor and share those concerns, that will be really helpful because I want to say the positive thing about communities like this where the meetings are organized and there is great leadership is you're connected and there's more communication, right? And your feedback is important. So when OCN comes, feel free to list down all the questions that you have, concerns you have, and maybe when they come, they can be all presented, and that's something they can consider. So yeah, thank you, Harley. I appreciate you. Yes, sir.
Just a question I should have asked when the officers were here too, but is there any plans to be more prepared if we end up getting a very large flux of illegal migrants coming into the cities in our area?
So handling as in like crime or what specific?
Well, I guess because of the border, there's a lot of illegals crossing the border and they're being shipped all over the states. But a lot of them are getting pushed back. So a lot of them are going into states that are more migrant friendly.
Yeah.
Right? And sanctuary cities, yeah. So California is a sanctuary state. And since we're right next to Mexico, San Diego, a lot of that stuff might be coming over into this area. Are you guys preparing in any way, just in case something like that happens? How are you going to handle that?
Thank you. I think that's a loaded question, federal, state, and multiple governments, right? But I don't have the exact answer that you're looking for. But what I can share to you is we as a county, we focus on, generally speaking, we focus on like human and health, like social services, right? We have our health department, we have public social services, Department of Mental Health. Even though Medi-Cal and CalFresh, these are state programs, the county administers, right? So we work on like your well-being, again, to unincorporated areas where like we have the immediate oversight for general government services because, cities, governments don't have that. And we also, so like on that note, when it comes to helping like social services, we have that in place. But I think the question that you have, which is a great question, I think that's more on like federal, state, all the government agencies are in like players, right? So for the most recent update on what county is doing specifically for like immigration is usually federal, but then I'll be happy to, get your contact and I can share with you what the county is doing, but yeah, okay, thank you. Oh, okay, thank you. So 2 more things I wanted to share. So actually, we went on different questions, but I want to wrap up the cannabis conversation with like contact information. Again, the flyer is here, and if you get stuck, feel free to like CC me or reach out to me. And I think some of you have Sari's email too, so feel free to like loop in. And yeah, I think that's the most recent contact that you have seen from county department. So yeah, anyways, feel free to loop me in and I'll be happy to follow up and assist you. And other things I wanted to share is we have a town hall that's coming up for budget. So let's see, 2nd District Town Hall, which will be regarding the LA County budget and 2nd District budget priorities. This will be happening on April 17th from 5 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. And I can send more details to you, Eddie, via email. So yeah, there's this has been shared on our Instagram recently too, so you can visit there and check our registration link to sign up and tune in. And there is a chance to like provide comment or do like a poll to express what you think should be the priority, what you think the priority should be in LA County or district. So this will be an opportunity that you can share. And let me see, I know Jamie is here from Parking Permit District. Eddie, thank you so much for coordinating, because I know that has been like a concern. And let me see, what else? Yeah, so I think that's about it. If I have further updates, I usually share to some, Wiseburn Watch leadership emails, and a few of you that are already here. But let's say you want to be added to my regional email lister that I have. This is different from the 2nd District email lister, but I also have a regional one where I share information that's helpful for this particular area. Feel free to reach out to me and I can add you. And
What Ara's talking about
yeah.
is many of the forwards and redirects that I get, I don't get them because I'm special in the county. I just subscribe to all the newsletters and I filter them for you and resend some of them. If you want to get these directly as soon as they're published, there's a lot of information stuff that they're doing for all age groups, for children under 5, for libraries, for summer activities. I mean, there's a wide variety of, I try and forward sort of, I know what the composition of our population is. I don't forward everything that I get, but there's a lot of information out there. Reach out to the county. It can be a great resource to let you know, depending on what your interest level is, what your age group is, where you are in life, the county, what services the county might have for you.
Thank you so much, Eddie. Speaking of, so our office does have 2nd District e-newsletter, which is a general one. We also have a separate e-newsletter that's specifically for unincorporated area, and there's mine. So maybe what I can do, Eddie, is it okay if I just send a list of those things? If you can just forward to them, and let's say you want to have it added to mine. Again, I only forward events that's helpful for the area that I'm serving, so it's like more specific. But I still encourage you to sign up to our office e-newsletter, because our communication team does amazing work of not only sharing important county resources, but then events, information, and what has been happening. So if you're a property owner, that's another way you're engaged with the county, right? So I encourage you to sign up to e-newsletter. And again, I'll share a list of the sign-up link, and I'll forward to Eddie. And Eddie, thank you so much. And yeah, if you can, I'll be around here. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me, and I'll be happy to assist you. And I took a lot of time, but I'm going to wrap up there. Any last question? Everyone good? Okay, thank you.
We'll have open forum at the end. We'll give Jamie a chance.
Thank you, Eddie.
You're over here. Thanks, Ara.
So, is this just a Q&A or am I?
I think it's just a Q&A, but if you want to give any information on
Okay.
what area you do, what you do, what
Okay,
area,
yeah, for sure. Good evening. My name is Jamie Salter from Traffic Safety and Mobility. I primarily work on everything that you see in the street. So when it comes to parking issues, signage, striping, we are not enforcement at all. So what we do is we place the things that you need, and then the officers and the CHP would do the rest. I'm here to answer any questions you have about the parking permits that we're working on. I've been working on them with Eddie and Ara diligently. It's taking some time, but we're going to get it done. So based on the block length and number of properties and available space for parking, our preliminary findings are finding that we would administer one permit per parcel. So like, so per household, per parcel, per household.
If I have a family of 4, only one person gets parked on the street?
As us, again, this is preliminary, but yes.
I can tell you right now, they're building they're remodeling a house down the street from our house on Ocean Gate.
Yeah.
Doesn't even have a garage.
So,
Understood. No.
let me just intervene, and I'll let Jameer, I'll let you answer. So, why this comes at, we've at least, I've been in the neighborhood 15 years? I don't remember, 2018, yeah, I guess. And so we've had this conversation, when Harley's kids were little, right? We revisit this every couple of years on why or why not is it a good idea, right? The reason that we're bringing it up right now is because the county is redoing the commercial corridor, right, along Inglewood Boulevard. Whether we like it or not, and we're not going to discuss that point tonight because that could take hours and hours, mixed-use commercial buildings are going to have parking exemptions based on density housing bonus. Translated into plain English, that means that because they will have 10 to 12% low-income housing, not low-income housing is a wrong term. I should say housing for lower-income individuals. Affordable housing. Thank you, Harley. I needed the term. It was on the tip of my tongue. They come with parking exemptions. So we have an example on 137th Place and Inglewood, where the preliminary permits and everything indicates that it's going to happen. A 6-story building with 100 units is going to go in. 10 parking spots for 117 units in the building. Where are these people going to park? So that's why we're exploring this, and his data is preliminary. We haven't done a single street. We're talking right now. We don't even know if a preferential parking district is probably not in our best interest. We're probably going to do onesie-twosie streets, but we need to understand what does that mean? Who gets to park? And these buildings, and this building is the first test building, right, that's going to come up, there's going to be more. We have a huge housing need, right? And where the current legislation at the state level allows for these buildings to be built. That's not going to change the commuting and the vehicular character of Los Angeles County, right? Magically, the cars are not going to disappear because they live close to the transit district. So the idea is, how do we protect and make sure that the folks that live in the community have sufficient parking? And that's a loaded question. You first, and then Harley.
I appreciate what you're saying, and I get where you're going with that. I love that. But on top of that, everybody's starting to build ADUs. So if you have a house and you give them, let's say, 3 parkings, but now they got an ADU, you give that ADU 3 parkings too?
I think Jamie will have something to say about what it means for ADUs.
So it still would be the same thing, unfortunately, because we are trying to preserve on-street parking. We're trying to encourage people to use their driveways, their garages, et cetera, et cetera. Go ahead.
I got a letter a few years back because I got a travel trailer and I was able to put it on my property on concrete, but it was facing, supposedly it's not allowed to face the house. It could only be facing the garage or on the street.
Look, that's a whole county ordinance. I got trouble, so let's forget about that.
Well, I don't want to
That's not
forget about
him.
that. I don't want to forget about that.
But that's not him, and he's not gonna be able to settle.
Oh, you don't get out, so I'll just leave it alone.
It's
All right, fine,
not
that's fine.
him at
All right,
all.
that's cool.
No, yeah.
Okay, wait, don't they have permit parking already in Del Air? Don't they have more than one per right now?
Yes, they do actually,
So
yeah.
you're telling us anything new is only gonna maybe have one parking?
So Del Air is different. So the spacing that they have there is different than the spacing that you guys have out. You guys are a lot more.
Camino Village,
Yeah, they have 3 as well.
they have it too.
Yeah,
They have more than one.
They have 3.
they have 3, yeah.
So what?
It's just different, it's just, yeah, different
Okay,
geographical.
I realize you just said encourage parking in their garages when the county is encouraging everybody to turn them into ADUs. So they can't park in the garages anymore.
The counties, I don't think that we don't have anything to do with the ADUs.
Master plan, we've been over this whole thing.
Yeah,
So, yeah, I get it.
that's more so regional planning.
Don't say that you're encouraging them to be in the garage.
So, no.
You're encouraging them to make the garage a house.
So this is my piece of the puzzle is just traffic and traffic safety. As far as regional planning goes, that's a regional planning issue that you guys need to take up with regional planning. Yeah, we. But as far as the boundaries go, I can't talk. The preferential parking district, we will be established based on the findings of the parking study. Inglewood Avenue is likely to be taken into consideration, like he said, as a part of the study, and the properties on Inglewood Avenue may be eligible. Because, again, we don't want to exclude them from possibly the employees having parking. Well, some of the properties, as you can see on Inglewood Avenue, are included in the unincorporated areas, yes.
People that are city of Hawthorne still get a parking permit.
They don't, no, they have nothing to do with us, yeah.
Businesses? None of the businesses?
Some across the street, no.
No, on our side of the street.
Some of them, yes. If they're included in the yellow, they will be included in our parking study. Correct. Just something to consider moving forward. So yes, any homes and businesses within the boundaries of the parking district will be eligible. They don't have to apply, but we will probably encourage them to apply because we're still trying to figure out how to incorporate these businesses that have a lot of employees and not just a home. And as far as people, so
Can I ask you, are you part of street sweeping?
no, that's road maintenance.
I'd rather just ask you.
Yeah, I understand.
Let's try and ask a question that you can do something about.
I have a question.
Yes.
You mentioned a couple of times that the businesses that will be in the parking district, their employees will be allowed or given permits to park in the community?
And so we're still discussing that internally because what we don't want to do is we don't want to just give the businesses just one parking permit or tell them that they can't park where they've been parking as a part of the community.
However, there are some that have parking lots.
Correct. So they should use that, but again, what if they don't have enough, then we're going to tell them to park across the street. So again, we're still just discussing internally.
But at the same time,
Yes.
out of all due respect,
Yeah.
you're telling us to park on our property.
So no.
Can't park on.
No, so that's not what I'm saying. So what I understand that. No, so what I'm saying is, as far as the businesses go, they'll have more cars because it's a business. And they have employees, they have an owner, they have manager, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm saying they will need more than possibly just that one permit. But
I have 5 drivers at my house.
yes. Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. Yeah, we're trying to make it equal across the board, and that's why we're still in preliminary.
Jameer, I think that's a lot of the issue, a lot of the problems.
Yeah.
You guys in the county always take the approach of, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess it's equity. You know, and that's fine on paper.
Yeah.
That's where you're at, that's where you're sitting, it's in your office, that's kind of how you see it. The real world is where we're at.
Yeah.
You want to give people who've been parking in our neighborhood, who don't live here, access a permit because they might work on it. And I understand that. These
Yeah.
are very same people that impact our neighborhood. To us, they're not our neighbors.
Okay.
And that's why the problem is, you know? You guys don't see it the same way we do.
So, and again, this is contingent on if, and the question is if Wiseburn becomes a preferred parking district. The whole of Wiseburn, right? Which is only one of the options, right? Perhaps, and I think some folks may have some questions about, if we weren't to become a preferred parking district and only cherry pick streets, right?
Yeah.
Which the folks that are living around, essentially, this block that sticks out on Inglewood, right, that is right for those buildings to come up. What if these streets were individually
Permitted,
parking streets?
yeah.
What's the effect on the, what's the effect?
On the community, and that's why we do the parking study, that which we haven't even done yet. Again, this is just preliminary conversations that we're having.
Yeah, but I think we're overpopulated with cars already as it is. We can't take any more cars on our streets. We can't, I mean, you could put it out there, but it's gonna be a big mess, I'm telling you.
So we don't have an option.
Yeah.
It's coming. We have no control
Yeah.
over it.
So we're gonna be able to park on our grass now to get away from that.
That's a really good question. Yeah, that's what I'm saying now, Lee.
That's my question.
Yes.
That's my question, is because before, I don't know if you guys remember when they re-asphalted the whole neighborhood? Okay, we were here, and we talked to the guys that were, planning it. And my husband, he went and he told the guy, okay, I'm planning on widening my driveway. And so he said, okay, so we were given a permit. But when the contract came, the contractor came, he started erasing all the marks, and he said, nope, you're not allowed to have a two driveway.
Because there's a one-car garage.
Right, so
Right, yeah.
my question going around that
Mhm.
is, are you guys going to allow us that if we only have like a one drive approach,
Yeah,
would you allow to have two car approach?
we don't. That's not my,
Not his
Yeah.
office. It's regional planning.
that's
Yeah.
regional planning, yeah.
But see, that would, I mean.
They need to talk to each other, right? So just so you know, Wiseburn Watch had that road paving project done, so you can thank the people sitting up front for making the county do our streets.
Okay, can I ask you a question? It's related to when they redid the streets, actually.
Okay.
La Cienega to 129th, that curve,
Uh-huh.
used to have dots down the center,
Okay.
which made it safe to walk across the street and to drive down the street. Because half the traffic would go and split off and not go down 129. Now, they wouldn't put the dots back in at the same amount that there were.
Mm-hmm.
They went to leave without putting any dots in, and I stopped them. And they said, oh, we're not allowed to do that anymore, where they put it on both sides of the line to make sure that it was a nuisance.
Yeah.
And my question is, what's the real law for that? Because we really like those dots back before somebody gets killed.
Yeah, so what I would do is I'll give you my card after that, and I'll get you an answer for that, okay?
Yeah, it's getting really dangerous.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, I was gonna say.
Raise your hand.
On Ocean Gate, I could say the best thing I've seen personally, and I don't know if everybody would agree with that, we're on 139th, the next street was West 40th. They put a four-way stop with lines and everything on that street, which slowed down cars immensely, made everybody stop.
Yeah.
And I think they should make more of those, because we really need cars to slow down in the area.
Yeah.
So they have a petition for it, so somebody in the neighborhood petitioned for that, have a new stop sign?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
That was Jameer's department that did that.
Yeah, that was me, yeah.
So let me just bring it back to the parking. That's a great
Can I ask you
point.
one more question before you get back to parking?
Yes.
Because it feels pet peeve. You said you were in charge of red
Red,
curb?
correct.
Okay. At our park spots, all the little turnouts, the county made us put them in there for the people that service the park.
Mm-hmm.
They put red in the middle. People park over here, people park over here. Can they not red the whole thing? It says no stopping, but since it's only red in like this big of a spot, you could park here, or you could park here. And I know that's your pet peeve. If you're the red curb person, I've been tempted to go out there and shoot it myself.
They use signage and some red curve,
Mm-hmm.
so people feel where it's not red. Even though there's signage around the whole boulevard.
Yeah, so if there is signage, contact the sheriff's office. You can contact the sheriff's office. Yeah.
Saying if it was red, it would make it a lot easier, because they would like that parking.
I see. Yeah. So I mean, that's something that we could talk about. We typically don't do that if there's already signage there. We typically, but we don't.
This much red out of this. Can you just finish painting the curb?
What's the location?
It's 139th Street all the way to 130th on La Cienega.
Okay.
Probably 8 of them.
Just call Gavin Newsom and tell him you need paint.
And I was just about to do it, I don't want to get in trouble, but
Yeah. So let me bring it back. Let me bring it back to parking, and I'm gonna have Brian ask some questions because he lives almost at the edge of where the commercial building is.
Okay.
I mean where the tall building is coming. And he has some questions about 137 Place.
Yeah.
Go for it, Brian.
Yeah, I do. What's the process you would need to go for that single block permit? Looking at that, I actually have a question about like the study that you're doing. Like, can you talk through how you're looking at that? Like one block.
Yeah.
The whole district. Like, what does that look like? And what is the impact on the amount of permits that would go out, if at all, if you did just a few blocks, or if you did the entire Wiseburn corridor?
Yeah, so to speak to that last point first, if we possibly did shorter block lengths or specific streets, you guys may be eligible to more permits. Again, I don't have any numbers right now or anything like that, but you guys may be eligible for more.
And so, if Brian got you 100% of all the signatures between La Cienega and Inglewood in a 2-week time period, what could he do?
We might be able to get you guys more than one permit, like I said earlier. But as far as the study goes, I would come out on whatever day that you guys would say is the most active day, active time, and I would come out and literally just sit and watch traffic to see how much space is available, to see if there is a need for these parking permits, because we just can't just give them out without no data. We have to go around and see. So I would come out on whatever day, or whatever street, and just watch traffic. And unfortunately, they have me sometimes follow around just to see how people are moving and parking. So that's more so the process. So first we start off with a petition for your street to gauge interest. From there, once we gauge that interest, I will come out and do a study. Then we do a community meeting, something similar like this. And then from there, we'll go on and create the boundaries for you. Yeah.
If you wanted to get that started, is that process would start now with the?
Absolutely. I can give you my car. I have some cars in here. If anything traffic related and traffic safety related, I do. So, yeah.
Thank you.
No problem.
So these permits are no charge?
These permits will be for a price, but the price will be determined once we complete the study.
I go Costa Rica.
Can I ask you a question? So, I'm still confused about the permit, maybe because I wasn't really paying attention, but, so what you're saying is for every house that lives, you'll give us a permit
Correct.
for one
That's just preliminary.
preliminary, okay. So what happens if you have a party?
So if you have a party, you have to go to your local sheriff's station to get temporary parking permits.
So
Yes.
you have to tell them, oh, I'm going to have.
You don't have to tell them you're having a party, but you go, yeah, I mean, essentially, yes. You don't have to tell them the party thing, but I have visitors coming, and I would have a need for 10 or however many parking permits that you would need for that day and that time. Or sometimes they might not even give them out. They just will be like, you know what, I won't come around and give tickets out because they know. As long as you keep the sheriff stations in the know, they typically are okay with that.
So technically, the plan is if there is no, if you don't have a permit on your dashboard, then you get a ticket.
For a street that is marked as a permit parking street. Preferential, yes.
Yes, so there are some parking districts that certain streets didn't want them. So they're not included in the parking study, or they're not paid, don't get ticketed or anything.
Oh, how would you know who's who?
That's a damn good damn.
Signage.
Signage.
Street would be marked.
Yeah, because.
So
No,
upon,
no, like right now, who, like you guys are studying the street, how would you know, like, let's say, 139, is that part of it?
we're not there yet. We're 5 steps behind that. You gather signatures. They do a
Yeah.
parking study based on the signatures.
And unfortunately, the permit is actually a good thing and a bad thing, because if you don't have permits and they all park in your neighborhood anyways, now nobody could be good.
So you have to, as a community, it's important to weigh the pros and cons of this, because sometimes it creates a nuisance.
Do you guys think that you guys are, and I know in our neighborhood, some some of the streets have double parking. Some of the streets have only one parking. Are you guys thinking of, because to accommodate a lot of the parking, you guys going to take away the one-sided parking and actually make everybody do double parking? Or is that not good?
No, that is what I do, but we would go street by street to study each street, individual street, to see how we would best give you guys the most access and most parking spaces. We don't just do an overall arching and just be like, here. No, we go street by street to make sure that we're giving you the best product, and not just so because you pay for this, you'll be paying for this maybe every 3 years, maybe sometimes every 5 years. We want to make sure that you're getting what you're paying for, and it's conducive to something that is going to help you guys and decrease the problem that you guys are having.
We have streets in the neighborhood that are equal width,
Yes.
and some of the streets equal width are both sides of the street parking, like she described, and some same width, parking on one side of the street, right? So some of the urban planning that was done in the neighborhood was done 70 years ago, right? So is directionality something that you guys would study as well in terms of
Like a one-way
making it
street?
a one-way, alternating one-way street? Is that something that you guys do, or?
No, so that is what we do. I'm shaking my head because that is something that I don't think that we would do at this time, but it's something that we can look into for sure. Yeah.
Or make every street parking on both sides, because that would.
Is it, so currently there are some streets that have parking on just one side?
Some are so narrow that they only allow both sides parking, only allow one vehicle.
Okay, that's something that can be considered as well.
It's a safety
Okay.
hazard, yeah. I mean, certain sections of the neighborhood have, again, equal width, but all of a sudden the street is parking on both sides, so only
Yeah.
a single vehicle can safely pass. So people have to yield right away to traverse the
Yeah.
street.
Yeah, and I want.
Be unidirectional.
Yeah, and I want to let you guys know, like, I'm taking this very seriously because this is kind of like my community. I don't live too far, so I drive through here very often, and I see the problems. Even with me driving, sometimes coming here, I get into an accident. So I understand your concerns, and I'm looking out for you guys seriously.
Jamir works out close by.
Yeah, Coast Fitness. That's my gym. Yeah.
I was going to disclose where.
In front of my house, you could only park one big truck, which is my truck, or two small cars, because it's not enough space for two cars, of a larger size. So if I'm parked there and there's not enough room for another car, that car goes into my driveway, now he's interfering with my space, then I would just call you guys and say, hey, this car needs to be towed if I can't find it.
Sheriff station. We don't do, as of right now, we don't do enforcement.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like how you said as of right now.
Would there ever be a situation where if you're doing permitted parking that you would look at that street and actually line out parking spots?
Absolutely, that's exactly what we do. Yeah, so we would literally go street by street and see how much spacing there is between each driveway to see how many cars can fit without infringing on somebody's driveway or in creating a nuisance. Yeah.
But I think Brian's question was a little bit different in terms of marking spots.
Oh no, we would not mark we wouldn't mark the spots. No, like striping. No. That's more so you see that more so in like commercial areas and more in cities. We don't typically do that in residential areas.
Why won't you guys do that?
You guys need to discuss at home before coming to the meeting.
No, these are good questions. I'll get you an answer for that. It's just something I haven't seen I've only been in county for 3 years. I haven't seen it be done in residential areas.
Yeah, because if my truck's too big and it crosses that line, then I can get a ticket. That would
Yeah.
kind of for me, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
I would never be able to park my truck on the street right there. You get it? You got it.
Well, yeah, but across the street.
Any other questions for Jamir in terms of, I know that some of you have individual street concerns, we're looking at, what's the best. I do think that individual street pursuits are probably the most immediate way to get something done. It doesn't necessarily mean that that will be permanent for the long term as he looks at a long-term plan. So, did I say that right?
You
is
did,
that right?
yeah.
Okay. So, it's conditional on the evolving needs of the community.
It's like you've been into a bar or in a big auditorium like this, and you see on the wall it says maximum capacity is 65. Do we have a maximum capacity for the city?
That's what he's studying, not for the city, but that's part of what he studies is for our area.
Correct.
And that's what determines, that would potentially determine the number of potential parking permits
Right.
on a per street basis or on a per district basis.
And is there a way to block people from saying, you guys, you're overcrowding, you can't come in here anymore? That's not gonna happen.
Not you, but how did you guys come up with one parcel one?
So again, it's based on the block length, number of properties, and available space for parking. Again, these are preliminary, just doing some distancing on Google Maps. I would come out and do these things in person. It might be more, yeah.
It's not gonna be less.
It can't be 0.
How about this? So one is a minimum, what do you typically see as a maximum?
There are some districts that have 5. There are some districts that have 3. There are some districts that have 2.
What do you see?
And with you guys?
No, just in district. 1 to 3 is most common, or what's most common?
It really
Hard to say?
is hard to say because, the most I've seen is 5. Yeah, typically I'll say the mean or median number is probably like 3.
One last question. With regard to, you said, getting signatures on a block, that it would be to initiate the study. Would every block, if we were talking about the entire area, would every block need to go that route? Or would there be like a tipping point of enough data you would then
So
execute this?
initially it's a block length, and then from there we go engage from the entire community. So I'll get you a small petition first, and then we'll do a petition for the entire community if interest is there.
And the permits are only for residents, not like people from the liquor stores and the
Correct.
supermarkets and the bars. Only permits are for only residents in the residence area.
And the businesses that are in the boundary.
unincorporated area.
Oh, and some businesses.
Correct.
If you look at the map over here, the potential businesses that would fall into our area are the yellow portion that sticks out on Inglewood. You have a third of 131st Street and middle of 135th Street, and roughly 2/3 of 137th Street, like a little piece of it, all the way to half of 140th Street on the Inglewood.
What about Rosecrans? Nothing on Rosecrans?
We're not those.
No.
Okay, yeah.
More so just Inglewood.
This little portion
Yeah.
and that little portion are the commercial, mixed commercial use today. Some all residential, there are some all residential that would maybe be rezoned to mixed commercial.
What about apartment buildings?
No. They would not, if they're not there currently, they would not be included in the study.
Apartments on, between 137th Place and 138. There's also some up around 132nd or so.
Yeah. So again, it's,
Oh, yeah, those two.
so are they currently parking on the street? Or,
No idea. I know that the apartments between 137th Place and 138, they're parking on 137th Place. I'm sure they park on your street too, Jim.
So there are some.
There are some apartment buildings?
Apartments or are not businesses, dwellings only, right? They're,
Yeah, well, there's business on the bottom.
oh, that's mixed use thing.
And then it's,
Yeah, the mixed use.
the one to the north is all apartments. I think it's like right across from Trinity Lutheran.
I don't know, I don't know if that's city or
Oh, it's on the county
on
side.
the county's eye positive?
Yeah, so it doesn't matter if so for instance, let's just run with the idea of one permit. That building, that parcel would still only get one. So the people that come, they would have to find somewhere else to park.
Because a lot of people could apply, or who intends one permit.
It would be whoever is the resident of the home in the parcel, or the resident or the owner of the business in the parcel. Yeah.
I guess I have more comment and question, but thank you so much for your presentation, Junior. So I guess comment, earlier, Harley was asking, it seems like, regional planning wants to create housing, but DPW is mindful of the parking, so it seems like there is no communication.
Mm-hmm.
For everyone who's here, if you have a question like that, please let me know, because I wish regional planning is here to answer that, but there's no one here, right? So some conversation could be happening. I'll be scared if they're talking, but I'm sure certain liaisons could be talking, right? So great question that Harley had. So something like that, I think she's gone, so I'll go ahead and follow up with her to kind of clarify that and see who I can route that inquiry to. But if you have any question like that, please let me know. And my second, I guess, inquiry is, Junior, again, thank you for the presentation. I'm just wondering if you can, remind me, kind of summarize what the next action steps can be for this permit parking.
Yeah, so right now I'm working with Eddie to get a street and a time so it's for me to do my parking study. And then from there, we'll gauge interest within the entire community and see if what streets want to be involved and what streets don't want to be involved.
How does the timeline look like?
No, go ahead, yeah.
What was the timeline?
Yeah, approximate. I know some things change, but
It really just depends on whenever I can study it. Whenever I get the street and the time, I can do it, and then we go from there. No concrete timeline.
No one will get tickets until they get at least the letter in the mail saying permits will be coming out and kind of
Signage goes up.
There's a
Yeah,
process.
it's a process.
Everybody
Yeah.
would be notified, everybody affected would be notified. Just in the interest of both time and presence, I'm going to nominate that Brian, just because you're here, and your street is, you're representing your street, that West 137th place.
Okay, okay.
Started, and that Brian be
Liaison.
coordinating his block, so, yeah.
Okay. I'll make sure I contact with you. Yeah.
Is he gonna do the whole street or just his block?
So the whole street, Inglewood, the responsibility is Inglewood to La Cienega, everything that falls in the unincorporated area of Wiseburn. That's what they're gonna require.
Brian gonna do 137th place?
I'm sorry.
Brian gonna do-
Brian knows a lot of people. Brian knows a lot of people, and he'll have that. We'll help him with that. So, yeah. Okay. Any other questions for Jay Muir?
Please don't be shy. Anybody? All right. Well, I have my cards here. Feel free to contact me with any traffic safety issues that you might have. Thank you.
We appreciate you. Thank you, Jay Muir. All right. I know that Harley is gone. You know who we are in terms of your board members. You guys will get an electronic. These are posted on the website, by the way, if you miss anything. Really open forum. I think I thought I had National Night Out. I'll be remiss not to mention Tuesday, August 4th is going to be our National Night Out celebration. We're thinking we had such a bang up event last year at the library that we're thinking about courting the library and closing the parking lot in the library. It seems to be like the easiest county location. Unfortunately, not in the unincorporated area, but close enough to have a good time and celebrate. We had some neat donations, some neat prizes this year. We had a donation from Universal, so there should be some nice giveaways this year. So keep that date in mind. Tuesday, August 4th. It's the first Tuesday in August. And Harley's going to be sending out emails and planning activities for donations and other logistics planning that she'll need help with. Open forum. Does anybody have any questions not relating to a topic on the agenda tonight?
What about, you
The self-defense class, so Harley is organizing with the sheriff a self-defense class for women. It has to be over 18. It can't be for kids. We're having issues with the location. It's most likely going to be a county location. So Del Air Park is most likely going to be the location because of the insurance and liability issues associated with that. 10, 12 years ago, we had that in this room. Both liability requirements don't allow for that to happen in a school setting today. So Harley's organizing. More information is coming on date and location as soon as we secure a location for that. It's going to be taught by a sheriff's unit that does that training.
Do you know if we're going to have cert for Wiseburn or just our area?
That is a good question. We had cert training. We tried to plan that in years past, and there wasn't sufficient interest in it. I'd like to take a poll, and I can send an email to take a poll because we need 12 people to commit to a date for that to happen. But yeah, we can have that. We did it in years past. I did it. Some of our watch members some of the board members are cert went through the cert training.
We're gonna do cert through Manhattan Beach.
Okay.
Yeah, but we would like to know if we could get it here too.
So it's getting a group of people together. I think the minimum was 12, if I remember correctly, for them to send somebody out to do it. Like they could do it here, right, on a Saturday. And I think it's a Saturday and Sunday. I think it's a 2 4-hour sessions. Yeah. So it's a time commitment that people usually have a tough time getting the numbers together. But we can certainly host a local one. Derry.
Eddie, do you know when Rock Around the Block is going to be?
I don't, but I can find out when it is. I know that date's already set. I don't have it off the top of my head. Yeah. But I don't have the exact date, but I can find out and send it out. We've been sending less school-related announcements. I know the superintendent issues a newsletter. Let me know if you guys want to get a forward of the newsletter. At some point, people were saying, well, this doesn't really apply to me, but we can certainly start sending some of those out, or at least on a quarterly basis, sending out the school district newsletter. Brian and I, on the Wiseburn side, are on the Citizens Bond Oversight Committee. By the way, we're your representatives for the Citizens Bond Oversight Committee. You'll notice that you'll see some signage on the sports conflict that's coming up. Most likely the end of winter, beginning of spring 2025 is when that will break ground. So more definite renditions are coming up of that site. So it's going to happen, and that's going to be using Measure EE dollars to build that out.
So we don't know what's going in there yet?
We do. What's going in there in terms of, they have depictions of the field locations, and the facilities master plan has a depiction of what's going in there. 2 softball, baseball, and a high school level soccer field is Federation CIF level soccer field is and baseball as well, right?
Soccer.
Thank you. CIF softball and soccer. Okay. Also, we're going to alleviate some of the field congestion in terms of soccer because Da Vinci is going to have their field built out, a soccer field, a high school level soccer field built out on their site. So that's going to alleviate some of the congestion with some of the elementary school fields.
Did you see that post that somebody put in next door where they said they saw back like 15 maybe of transients that was going down Ocean Gate, and it was several people saw it, and so they were kind of like alarmed were you guys?
I don't pay attention too much. I can't spend time on Nextdoor. I go on there maybe once a week, but I not more than that. But I missed that one.
It
So
was more like a concern of, when I read it, it was our neighborhood. And when I saw it, I was like, it was kind of alarming because you know how there was that thing where you say, if somebody actually comes into your property, the cops are not going to help you.
who says that?
That's not true, because they help you because the homeless are on my property.
Yeah, so anytime you see something suspicious, even if anytime, call the sheriff's department. Yeah, if nothing else, they'll drive by and say, move along. Even if it's just that, they know that it's an area that cares and well patrolled, and they won't meander and mosey around. So at least call the sheriff. Call the sheriff. You see something suspicious, call and report it. I mean, you say, hey, I don't know, it doesn't look right. Better safe than sorry. You know, it's not that the sheriff is going to come out with the guns a-blazing and you know, better to ask. You see somebody suspicious with a backpack walking around looking at houses? Sure, I would call.
Yeah, my son, he comes home a lot of times at 2, 3 in the morning, and we were talking to him, and like, you know, the lights, you gotta turn it off, you know, because it keeps it on all night. And he goes, I don't wanna, you know, the homeless people are around here, I don't want them to try to jump me. I go, dude, you're a big guy, dude, what are you afraid of? You know,
Yeah.
you just tell him to kick rocks. He goes, I don't wanna get involved in all that stuff. But he has a right to say that, and I understand that, you know, I mean, who wants to fight anybody?
No, I wouldn't confront anybody, transient, you know, unhoused or not. You know, do not. I would not recommend. You know.
But he's more worried about getting jumped as he's
Sure.
coming through the door in the
Sure.
middle of the night, you know, and that's why he says he wants to leave the light on when he leaves. We're already asleep, so the light stays on 4, 5, 6, 7 hours, and, you know, he goes back and turns it off.
Yeah.
If he remembers.
Yeah. Not an agenda item, but another item for concern is La Cienega, right? I mean, I don't know that we'll find, you know, what to do there, Jamir, but La Cienega Boulevard, in terms of parking, only has a 2-hour parking restriction on it. It's ripe for abuse. It's going to be hard to make everybody happy. There's 35 homes along La Cienega Boulevard. Only one of them with a La Cienega Boulevard address, which is the weirdest thing in the world. There's only one house that actually faces La Cienega that has a La Cienega Boulevard address. The other 34 homes are corner lots or have numbered streets belonging to the perpendicular street to La Cienega. So 34 homes plus one La Cienega address. We need something there, and we need to be careful with the language that we use. I get it, but how do we protect the abuse from that on that street? So we need ideas before we go knocking on people's doors on what to do for that. Is permit parking even a possibility for something that's labeled a boulevard that traverses a residential district? Time limit or no overnight. Okay. Good options to think about. Right. Right. And petition for La Cienega would only be the 35 houses, or how many houses deep to get? So a petition for La Cienega, would that involve only properties facing La Cienega, or what's the depth? So in other words, only the corner houses, right, that face La Cienega?
We would do from the whole La Cienega.
Right.
Yes.
Right. So there's only one house that has an address.
Yeah.
Everybody else has a house.
We would include
Those, only those houses. Got it. Okay. All right. I don't have anything else. Ara.
Hi, sorry, I forgot to share earlier, but we have self-defense class, right? So I wanted to touch on that. Actually, on April 13th, near El Camino College, El Camino College is close by, right? So there will be self-defense class. There's an organization called Seniors Fight Back, and this group kind of came about during the pandemic because hate crime kind of rose, right? I've been to their self-defense classes, and it's fun. It's kind
Send us the details, and I'll definitely forward it out.
This is going to be a great event, so I wanted to share that in again our board. And speaking of, I will be absent for so yeah, I wanted to let you know from like latter half of April from 11th to 30th, I'll be out of country. So good thing I came to this meeting today, and next meeting will be in May. But if you have any questions, feel free to reach out beforehand. And if you reach out to me during the time I'm out, I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible upon my return. But if it's emergency, feel free to call our office directly to get help. So yeah, sorry, thank you.
No. Thank you. So our next meeting is on May 15th, Wednesday, May 15th, same place, same location. Thank you very much. Thank you for those joining us online. Second District Deputy Constituent Aron and Jamie Salter from Public Works. Thank you, guys. Have a good night, everyone.